Hi, my name's Rene. I was raised in the Jewish faith all of my life, and we observed all of the Jewish holidays and observances. So in February of 1982, we were living in Newcastle, Australia, and I was working at an optical instrument repair firm. I was on my way home from work by a panel van, and I was driving along the highway and slowed to stop at the lights where the road meets the highway. As we've approached the lights, they changed to green, and as we went into the crossing, my car aquaplaned and hit a very large power pole just after the intersection. Stuart, my son, who was on a mattress in the back of the panel van, he was thrown forward, hitting the back of my head, driving me into the steering wheel. During that time, while I was severely injured, I had a remarkable near-death experience. I don't know exactly when my experience took place. I have no memory of the process of dying or leaving my body. All I remember was that I was moving head first through a dark maelstrom of what looked like black boiling clouds, feeling that I was being beckoned at the sides, which frightened me. Ahead was a tiny dot of bright light, which kind of steadily grew and brightened as I drew nearer. It was as though I became aware that I was dead, and I was concerned for my mum, my dad, my sister, and somewhat upset with myself, as I thought, oh, they'll get over it. Like it was in passing, just a fleeting thought, as I rushed greedily towards this light. I arrived in an explosion of glorious light into a room with insubstantial walls, standing before a man about in his 30s, maybe 6 foot tall, with reddish brown shoulder length hair, and this sort of incredibly neat short beard and mustache. He wore this simple white robe. Light just seemed to illuminate from him. And I felt that he had this great age and wisdom. He welcomed me with such great love, tranquility, and an indescribable peace, but yet no words at all. I had this strange feeling of, I can sit at your feet forever and be content, which sort of struck me as a strange thing to think. Weird to say and strange to feel. I'm not sure exactly how to describe that communication there. I became fascinated by the fabric of his robe, trying to figure out how light could be woven. He stood beside me and directed me to look to my left, where I was replaying my life's less complimentary moments. I relived those moments and felt not only what I had done, but also the hurt that I'd caused to other people. I was sort of surprised that some of the things I may have worried about, you know, like shoplifting a chocolate bar as a child, they weren't there. While sort of casual remarks which caused emotional pain to another person, but unknown to me at the time, they were counted. When I became burdened with guilt, I was directed to other events which gave joy to others. Although I felt unworthy, I still remember it seemed to balance in my favor. I received great love just flooding over me. I was led into the room, which became a hall. There, coming towards me, was my grandfather. He looked younger than I remember, and he was without the hair lip or the cleft palate, but undoubtedly this was my grandfather. We hugged, he spoke to me, and he welcomed me. I was moved to forgive him for dying when I was 14. That event made me break my promise to become a doctor and find a cure for his heart condition. And until that moment, I hadn't even realized that I'd been angry at him. Granddad told me that Grandma was coming soon, and he was looking forward to her arrival. I inquired as to why she was coming soon, because she was alive and well and had been constantly travelling from her home in Manchester to New Zealand and even to Miami, USA for continual summer. My gran had been doing this for a number of years. Granddad told me she had cancer of the bowel and she was coming soon. But Granddad seemed to have no grasp of time when I pressed him to tell me how soon this would happen. My grandmother was diagnosed 3 months later after this episode, and she died in August. I had upset my mother by telling her about it when I regained consciousness, but it didn't take long for it to come true. After Granddad and I had talked for a while, he took me further into the room, which became a hall again. As we've approached a large group of people whom I started to recognize. That person, the wonderful man with the reddish brown hair who first welcomed me, he came and placed his hand on my shoulder, and he said, "You must return. You have a task to perform." I wanted to argue. I wanted to stay. I glanced back at Granddad, but I was propelled pretty quickly towards the entrance. At the threshold, all became blackness. Nothing, no awareness. I awoke from my coma slowly over several days. I kind of half dreamed memories of familiar voices, and glimpses of faces. The clearest moments were several occasions where I would awake from a deep sleep to find a nurse with a syringe, and I refused drugs. I had no idea why. I had 3 lots of surgery to repair my face, my skull, my eye socket. I left the hospital with pain, with double vision, insomnia, damage to the 8th cranial nerve. It left me nauseous and with disturbed balance. I was for 2 full years angry at God for sending me back to such torment with a task to do, but no clues or instructions. Only one thing. I had a clear message that I had to pass on, and this was the message. It is time to live according to your beliefs. Whatever they may be, put your house in order, for the times are upon us. I only knew the message. I'm still unsure of the identity of the gatekeeper. That wonderful man, no name tag, no introduction. To me, the memory of the NDE is more real than what I did yesterday. At the time, I was certified as dead at the hospital in Newcastle, Australia. My professor, who had reported my death to my parents, he said to them at the time they should be grateful that I was dead, because had I survived, I would have been a vegetable. While he was talking to my parents, explaining my death to them, a young frightened nurse rushed into the room and blurted out, "She's alive, she's alive." She sat up and spoke. The professor chastised her for interrupting them, and lectured her about how dead bodies can move and make noises. But the nurse was emphatic. She sat up and moved. She said, "Don't give me any more drugs." At this point, my mum took the professor by one elbow and took my dad by his hand and led both of them down the corridor to see for themselves. They found me in the back corridor where I had apparently been wheeled so that the nurse could remove all of the equipment prior to me being transferred to the morgue. I was found in a deep coma, but breathing, remaining that way for a further 10 days. But I was alive. Today, I have gainful employment at the Newborn Intensive Care Unit of Waikato Hospital. And I'm the head of the New Zealand Head Injury Society, which I helped to establish in 1987.